Hey everyone, welcome back to Blackland Prairie Bees. It's been 2 weeks since I've inspected these hives. I'm not going to do all of mine. Last week was a especially good week because we had a holiday and I had a Saturday. And so last week, or no, 2 weeks ago, I was able to inspect all of my colonies within about a 3 day period. No such luck this week. I'm busy making more hives and more frames, so I'm not going to attempt even all of the hives in my immediate vicinity. But I am going to inspect these three. And this pasture is just a great example of why an inspection at this time of year is so important. Because if you look out here, it's been recently mowed, at least in places, uh, but you can tell how brown and dry it is. We still have some trees that are green, and hopefully some of them are providing some pollen and nectar. But we had just fields upon fields of flowers like these thistles that were blooming not long ago, and you can see that now they are dry and dead. So what that means is, unless they're finding resources in the trees or in watered residential gardens or in irrigated commercial crops. We do have cotton in right now and growing well. So hopefully they're getting some nutrition that way. But there's just not a lot in the environment right here for them right now. So we've got to keep an eye on the nectar stores, but nectar has been easy this year and they should have a lot stored up. So I'm going to be especially checking each of these hives for pollen stores because as they're raising baby bees, they need pollen to be able to feed the babies as they grow. So I'll be looking for pollen, and I'm also going to be looking to check on some of the issues that I found out here. So in the swarm trap in the center right now, that was taken from a cutout from the floor of a shed. And 2 weeks ago, I saw signs that they uh, may have a young queen. And I also saw some additional queen cells, which meant that either those queen, if there was a young queen, either those other queens would be killed or there might be a swarm event coming on soon. So I want to see what's the population there. I did see a tiny little swarm on the ground near where I used to have some of these bees, just in a ball on the ground. So that might have been a swarm cast off from here that didn't find a home to live in. So I may actually try to capture that. It's very tiny, but I've captured a tiny swarm before and they made it. So I may try to capture them and put them in a nuke or a swarm trap on the way out. But at any rate, population could be an issue there. And I'd like to verify that we do have a queen with more experience now, able to lay single eggs in a cell instead of multiples. In the hive that is now in the center, that was once a mean hive, and I requeened it. And 2 weeks ago, we confirmed that they were, in fact, that a queen was functioning. So they had accepted the queen that I introduced almost certainly. The other alternative was that they requeen themselves, but I don't think there really had been time for that. So I'm trusting that my queen uh, from Ernie, one of our local queen producers in Central Texas, that they were in fact, sorry, I hope I'm not making too much mic noise. I'm zipping up my veil over the mic. So I believe that almost certainly that queen has been accepted and is the one laying, but I'm going to look into that hive as well. And then the third one, the one on the right, is the one that I rearranged some frames, um, and I may not even need to check them. I probably will, looking for pollen, but I don't think that there's any big problems that I need to be aware of there. So that's the agenda today, and I'm going to pause while I finish the setup. All right, so now I've given the bees a little smoke. I got fully suited up. We're ready to do just a quick inspection of this colony. Got a cockroach scurrying for cover. Going to give them just a little more smoke. The wind is making it not quite so conducive for smoking. Wanting to carry the smoke away. Now, so in my normal system, numbering from the front to the back, or from the entrance away, this would be frame 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I would normally start furthest away from the entrance. However, the 4 frames in the back have rubber bands, which means they've got comb on them that I took out of that cutout. And it also means that there's a little bit less clearance for me to be able to get those frames out. So I need to give them space before I try to pull them up. So instead of my normal pattern, I'm going to start with frame 1. And it was stuck well together. This is a foundationless frame they were given to build on. They've not done very much with it at all, except to propolize it to the other frames. So now, let's give them a little more smoke. This time across the top, a little bit in the entrance. And this second frame is another one, just a foundationless frame. They haven't started doing much with it. And so the remaining frames all have comb that was taken from the shed floor. So I have to be a little bit careful as I manipulate these frames. They have been secured in place with rubber bands, but the rubber bands are breaking, as is normal and expected. So we're hoping by now that the bees have them well secured to the frames. And I see capped honey. I see bee bread, which is fermented pollen and nectar mixed, and that suffices for food for the brood as well. I need a little sunlight to look for eggs. I see one hive beetle, but one is not an issue by itself. All right, and I don't see any eggs on that frame, nor would I really expect to, because it is mostly a food frame. And I'm content. Did I put that in the right way? I think this was the way it went in, or came out. I'm content with the amount of food that they have in that frame. So that would be frame 3, numbered from the entrance. This one is frame 4. Now you may recall that I had concerns that if what I was seeing last time was not a young and inexperienced queen, it might have been laying workers. This entire section of brood appears to be drones, and that is supportive of the laying worker theory. But not, I wouldn't consider it yet conclusive. All right, once again, I see capped honey and bee bread and drone brood and empty cells. Something that's not supportive of the laying worker possibility is that I don't see large numbers of eggs. Um, the last time when I've previously encountered a laying worker situation, as I understand it, a laying worker situation, usually it's not just one laying worker; it can be several of the workers. So you can end up with really large numbers of eggs, and of course they all turn out to be drones. I don't see that, so I'm still hopeful that we have a queen here. Although I don't see brood. All right, so here, more capped honey, more nectar, more bee bread. Oh, and I just lost a comb. Oh, I see a queen though. I see a queen. Boy, I'm being clumsy today. Still see her. Still see her. All right. I don't know if you'll be able to see her. In there she is. Nice view of. Oh, not focusing on her though. There she is, right there at the top. All right, we're gonna see if I can mark her. I'm gonna start to slowly and gently raise this up. The other bees can all squeeze out. I'm gonna set her over here and let them try to get out or get her out. They'll try. I don't think they can get her out. Now, where did my marker go? Oh, ah, that's one of my risky oversights. Fortunately, they're not being super aggressive towards me right now, so I've got it on an inside shirt pocket, the queen marker. So right now, a bee that really wanted to get me could fly inside my suit and I'd be in trouble. All right, but I'm zipped back up. Should be fine. So what I've got here is a little paint marker. Whoa, and it is dispensing large amounts of paint. I'm going to let that sit for a minute. I'm going to try to immobilize the queen very carefully. Okay. I think she seems to be stuck right there enough for me to put a little paint mark right there. On her back. So now she has a red dot on her back. I'm just going to give it a minute to dry, and then we'll release her. All right, I think it is safe to let her go. There she goes. Marked queen. Oops. Now that frame looks kind of fragile too. I've got a queen cage that fell out of my pocket onto the floor there. I'm going to take that frame out. Reclaim my queen cage. And then carefully, oh, I see. I picked it up upside down, so I'm going to try to support the frame a little bit. Oh, do not flop out on me. Okay, that is okay for now. Now we're going to take this last frame you can hear the level of agitation rising among them. Just a little bit more manipulation than they are comfortable with. All right, last frame. Let's see what we've got. I'd really like to see evidence of some eggs. I think what we actually had there was either, yeah, they've torn down the queen cells that were on this frame before. We've got one unoccupied queen cup. They've got plenty of pollen. Oh, man. And another frame broke out. All right. So I'm going to put these two back. I'm going to get my rubber bands. And I'm going to put those frames in these other two in the other two frames. And try to reclaim All right, let me get my rubber bands. There are many different ways that you can attach comb with rubber bands. In this case, I've just made a floor for that frame. I'm going to get one of these comb segments. I'm going to lay it across like that. I'm going to push it into the boundaries of the frame. That brings it in contact with the support bar, the dowel down here. Brings it in contact with the starter strip there. And now I'm going to take this one and I'm just going to give it a crossways support, like so. Maybe I should do, I'll do one more the other way. Or two more possibly. Here I'm just going to go from corner to corner. And one more from corner to corner. All right, so that frame is now recovered. Now the question will be, is there enough play there with all the rubber band between frames for me to actually fit the other one in there? That might be a trick. All right, but we'll try it. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to make a floor. And I'm going to do that by just looping my rubber band around this corner. Actually, I should do it below. And then I'm going to stretch it out to this corner. I'm going to do the opposite over here. So there's the floor. All right, and for this, I'm going to go just from corner to corner. From corner to corner that way. All right. Now what I want is for them to all go down. So I'll try to see if I don't really have any. There we go, a little smoke coming out now. All right, we got it in. Now this lid, uh, with this many frames in place, it doesn't give bees an escape to get from the above the bars to the bottom. So I'd really like to get all the bees off the top, because when I close it, if they're still up here on the top, they just get squished. Okay, so we've got them all off. Now we'll cover them up. And now we know we have a queen. Don't know for sure if she's already mated. There we go. So that will be our next check, is to hope that next time we see eggs.